Good morning, everybody. I'm having some difficulties here, so we'll try to figure it out. But in the meantime, hi. This is going to be kind of a short week for me because obviously I didn't have a show Monday and Tuesday, and also today, as you can't see me, I'm having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to try to take care of these. Just bear with me. And in the meantime, I'm going to play the intro. I'll be right back. Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. Stop that music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome to the Dawg Knight Channel. I unfortunately have a couple problems here, so if y'all could do me a favor and just chat amongst yourself just for about 2 minutes here, and I'll have everything fixed. I hope. I'm having some internet problems, so I'm going to see if I can go fix that upstairs, and I will be right back. But it looks like at least I'm getting the show to load here. So give me a minute. I'm going to put you on my be right back thing, and I'll be right there. So see you in a minute. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. Welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is the 15th of September, Wednesday, hump day. And I've been gone, obviously, for a few days. And every time I have any kind of hiatus, or even after a weekend, I get, wow, the news is just never stops. I was like, last year I sold those 2020 FFS shirts and masks and stuff like that. And 2021 seems to be just saying, hold my beer, But the big news yesterday was about the general who may have committed treason. At least the textbook definition of treason. And I am just, FTG, first of all, because him and his, his issues with white rage, as he described what he thought was happening in the world. But I saw an interesting article that makes me think, maybe not so fast, although I wouldn't put it past this guy to do what has been said, but we'll get into that in just a minute. We'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, so let's say good morning everyone in the chat real quick, and then we'll get into it. By the way, just a programming note, these next 3 shows, today, tomorrow, and Friday, are all going to be shortened a little bit just because I have some work scheduling issues that I have to deal with. And so I'm going to have to shorten the shows. I might do afternoon shows too. I might do double stream today. Double rainbow. By the way, Lady Boomer and I were driving home the other day and we saw an actual double rainbows. Like not like, see one and you see this kind of faded one. No, two perfectly bright rainbows driving back. And one of them looked like it was, the end of it was like 100 yards away, because when we were driving over this bridge, we're just like, this is just freaky. But anyway, that's not my point today. Let's say good morning to everybody. First in the chat today, I hope I got this right. First in the chat today is Jesse Leon, and you get the bell. Thank you so much for being here. How did those got rearranged somehow. Anyway, also good morning, Zombie Teddy. Nice to have you back. Good morning, Selecta Boy. Yeah, and boy. Good morning, Jonathan Peterson. Avocados Diablo, the Devil's Advocate. Good morning, Tarai Deos, Dom O'Leary, Tyler F. Let's see. Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. Nice to see you. Also, good morning to Seamus Derby, Wikipedia Snippet, Aaron Meredith, K. Shull, and Tex AG 007. Okay, that's not really how it goes, but it's kind of giving that 007 theme. So anyway, so everyone's talking about Mark Milley, right? And by the way, I did this. Good morning, Gunfox61. Also, this weekend, we drove our son to Denver, Colorado, and I drove a U-Haul 14 hours straight. Other than stopping for gas and grabbing some bites to eat, and he and his mom drove up too, and we got him there, and actually we had some time to spend before he could get his keys. So we drive all day Saturday, and he can't get his keys till noon. We find out he can't get his keys till noon Sunday. So Sunday morning, Lady Boomer and I went. We stayed about 25 miles outside of Denver. I can't remember Brighton, Colorado. Anyway, and there's this little state park kind of across the highway from where we were staying. The hotel we stayed in that night. And so we went over to the state park, and it was very cool. The coolest thing there, first of all, there's a dam and there's a lake and stuff. There's a bunch of, it's a bird sanctuary. So there's a whole bunch of birds down by the lake, but the lake was really low. Like, normally the lake goes halfway up the dam, and it was not even to the bottom of the dam. It was really low. Saw all these birds and stuff, but the coolest thing that I had never really experienced is we're walking around, there's all these holes in the ground. And I'm like, these holes look familiar. And they're huge holes. And I'm like, this looks familiar. And all of a sudden, a little prairie dog sticks its head out of one and starts barking at me. And I'm like, oh my God, these are prairie dog holes. There's just prairie dogs everywhere in this park. Coolest thing I'd seen. Because I've seen, like at the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo, there's a prairie dog area that they have set up. You see them in the zoo, but you're not, you just don't expect to go out and see them out in the, middle of the, wherever we were in the, near Denver at this little state park. So that was kind of cool. And then they had some other cool stuff going on there. But anyway, so that was our weekend. And then, so we got them all this stuff moved out and basically had time to take the U-Haul back and go have something to eat, and got on our plane, and everything was hunky dory. So we got back and everything was cool, and we're, they're there, and we're here now, and hopefully we'll see him sometime soon. Actually, I know they're coming through. He and his girlfriend are coming through next weekend because they have a wedding to go to up in northern Minnesota. So they're going to stop by, fly into here, and then go from there. But anyway, General Mark Milley. So they obviously the big news. Oh, you have a ton in the park by near your house. I bet those are really destructive, aren't they? If you don't have any way. It's interesting because I'm sorry, going back to the prairie dogs, because Tex AG said they have a ton near their house. What's weird is, so there's this whole field, right? All these prairie dog holes, right? But it's almost like the field next to it, like there was a farm field, and there were none in there. So it's like it's weird because they had almost their own section of this field, and then you don't see them at any of the other like properties, and then you see another section of them where they have this section. So I don't know how they control them to keep them out of, you know, the other yard, but it was just wild. I'd never seen prairie dogs like in their natural habitat before, so that was kind of cool. All right, let's get to Mark Milley, because that's the big news yesterday. I was hearing a lot of people saying, you know, things like treason. Oh, by the way, I did not tweet out the show. If someone wants to tweet that out and tag me, I'll retweet you, because I like I said, I have to do a shortened show today. So the big thing was Mark Milley and treatment. Oh, good God. Here we go again. But the other big news is obviously the California election. Apparently the people of California, you know, they're gluttons for punishment, at least the ones that came out and vote, or maybe it's just a lot of extra those ballots floating around. I don't know how that works in California. They allow vote mining or whatever, and it's crazy, right? But anyway, that was the other news. And then right now there's something on Twitter. There is no evidence that disinfectant betadine prevents or treats COVID-19, and consuming can lead to poisoning, medical experts say. I have no idea who's talking about this. Povidone iodine, commercially known as betadine, is a topical disinfectant commonly used in hospitals. Medical expert reports. No, who said there is people using it? And it says, and then this says, it's the latest anti-vaxxer tactic you should avoid at full cost. Is somebody talking about this? Oh my God, I don't know. This is, oh my God. You know what? I haven't even heard it. Usually I've heard of at least the things they talk about, and they're not talking about now. Let's get into Mark Milley. Hello, Tack Alpaca, by the way. And also check your logic. Nice to see you this morning. Aaron Meredith, welcome. Oh, I said Aaron already, but that's okay. So the big thing was about Bob Woodward has an article coming out. And it states that Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was so fearful that Trump might spark a war that he made secret calls to his Chinese counterpart. Now, this is the same Mark Milley. Hello. Oh, MC's in the house.
Stop. Hammer time.
Nice to see you. This is the same Mark Milley that I believe Nancy Pelosi was in close contact with after the insurrection on January 6th, right? And I'm reading some of these tweets about it, because so the new book, Milley secretly calls Chinese officials out of fear Trump would attack. New book claims General Mark Milley called Chinese officials in fear that Trump would attack during his remaining time in the White House. Now, I don't know why he would have thought that, but this is clearly treason if it's true. So let me show you what they put in the Washington Post. Now, I have alarm bells going off about this story. Because one, why would the Washington Post talked about this book? And here's a couple examples. Here's oh, that's weird. Let's do this. Here's from the Washington Post. Twice in the final months of the Trump administration, the country's top military officer was so fearful that the president's actions might spark a war with China that he moved urgently to avert armed conflict. Now, here's the problem. That is completely counter to the chain of command. But the Washington Post, now the way it's reading in the Washington Post, it almost sounds heroic, doesn't it? He moved urgently to avert armed conflict. What evidence did he have that there would be armed conflict, first of all. Number two, there are a lot of layers of people in the chain of command before you'd have to have any kind of war. You know what I'm saying? It's like, anyway, in a pair of secret phone calls, General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, assured his Chinese counterpart, General Li Zuosheng of the People's Liberation Army, that the United States would not strike, according to a new book by Washington Post associate editor Bob Woodward and national political reporter Bob Costa. One call took place on October 30th, 2020, 4 days before the election that unseated President Trump, and the other January 8th, 2 days after the Capitol siege carried out by his supporters in a quest to cancel the vote. The first call was prompted by... Now, especially I'm curious about the first call. The first call was prompted by Milley's review of intelligence suggesting that the Chinese believed the United States was preparing to attack. That brief, the author's right, was based on tensions over military exercises in the South China Sea, which we've been doing forever, and deepened by Trump's belligerent rhetoric towards China. And General Lee, I want to assure you that the American government is stable and everything is going to be okay, Milley told him. We are not going to attack or conduct any kinetic operations against you. Interesting that in the book's account, Milley went so far as to pledge he would alert his counterpart in the event of a U.S. attack, stressing the rapport they established through a back channel. General Lee, you and I have known each other for 5 years. Ooh, a whole 5 years. Not like China never plays a long game. Not like anything was going to happen. He had no evidence of this. Good morning, Richo. How you doing, brother? If we're going to attack, I'm going to call you ahead of time. It's not going to be a surprise. Lee took the chairman at his word. The author's right in the book Peril, which is set to be released next week. In the second call, a place to address China's fears about the events of January 6th, Lee wasn't as easily assuaged. Even after Milley promised him, quote, we are 100% steady. Everything's fine, but democracy can be sloppy at times. Well, so kind of our general to make a pledge that if our president ordered him to do something, he would warn the adversary. Interesting. Isn't this the same time that China's been making their moves on Taiwan and Hong Kong?
China is asshole.
So also in the book, Lee remained rattled. And Milley, who did not relay the conversation to Trump, oh, really? You didn't even tell the president? According to the book, and Milley, Lee remained rattled, and he understood why. The chairman, 62 at the time, and chosen by Trump in 2018, believed the president had suffered a mental decline after the election. The author's right. Oh, did he now? Did he now? Now remember. Now, let me remind you before I go on. The Washington Post is describing a book that's coming out written by Bob Woodward and whoever this Costas guy. I, as of late, Bob Woodward of Watergate fame, right? I, as of late, am very skeptical of anything I hear from Bob Woodward, because notice what the language in this article is. This is red meat for the Democratic base. Again, he agreed because the chairman believed that Trump had suffered mental decline after the election, the author's right to a view he communicated to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in a phone call on January 8th. So remember Nancy Pelosi was talking about the generals and saying how she was going to avert anything that Trump said. If Trump ordered a nuclear war, that she would be there to, tell him not to, right? Wow. So believing that China could lash out if it felt risk from an unpredictable and vengeful American president, Milley took action. Oh, he took action. Good for him. Did he go and talk to Trump and say, "Hey, are we gonna hit the red button against the Chinese? Or are we doing anything, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff should be able to have a direct line with the president, right?" But again, this Washington Post is making it sound heroic. Before China could lash out, if it felt a risk from an unpredictable and vengeful American president, that's red meat for the base, Milley took action. Oh, he took action. The same day, he called the admiral overseeing the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, the military unit responsible for Asia and the Pacific region, and recommended postponing the military exercises, according to the book. The admiral complied. Milley also summoned senior officers to review the procedures for launching nuclear weapons, saying the president alone could give the order, but crucially that he, Milley, also had to be involved. Looking each in the eye, Milley asked the officers to affirm that they had understood the author's right in what he considered an oath. So they're saying that there would be a military coup. Remember what they called January 6th an insurrection? Sounds to me like they were prepared to have a military coup. Interesting. The chairman knew that he was pulling a Schlesinger. The author's right, resorting to measures resembling the ones taken in August 1974 by James R. Schlesinger, Secretary of Defense at the time. Schlesinger told military officials to check with him and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff before carrying out orders from President Richard Nixon, who was facing impeachment at the time. Though Milley went furthest in seeking to stave off a national security crisis. Oh, a national security crisis that never was to be. Hello, Pinkalo. Hello, Duck Dog. His alarm was shared throughout the highest ranks of the administration, the authors reveal. CIA Director Gina Haspel, for instance, reportedly told Milley, "We are on the way to a right-wing coup." Okay, so now let's remember who's writing this book, because I have questions. And also, I'm not the only one who has questions. Again, this is Bob Woodward. Hello, Brad Young. Now, before I go on to this okay? If this is true, this is absolutely treason, absolutely something that General Milley should not only be court-martialed for, but stripped of his ranks, dishonorably discharged, and lose entire military pension. Okay? This is one of those things, and I don't care who the president is or what their state of mind is. Because remember, right now we have President Sundowner who kind of makes things up as he goes along. So we don't know what's happening with him. But even if they did this against President Sundowner right now, that is completely against not only the military chain of command, the code of justice. It's not what a general does. A general consults with the president. And granted, now, if there was a case where he had consulted with the president and asked some questions and whatever after, the one after the election, I don't even get, after the January 6th thing, everyone, the way the media was, calling it insurrection. I can see being concerned, but you go to your commander-in-chief, he's still a commander-in-chief. he'll be, Gunfox, he is being seen as a hero on the left. And good morning. Hey, lunatic, how you doing? I'm talking to your ridiculous lunatic, not Gunfox. He is going to be seen as a hero on the left. Now, someone down here, I'm looking at some of the replies to this. This is a very big if. I find it hard to believe that a 4-star general and chairman of the Joint Chiefs would do this. Let's see if Milley confirms it for more evidence to corroborate before we pile on what could be a conspiracy theory. Well, this is Bob Woodward now we're talking about. And let's get into that now. Because this article kind of was where I was at when I first saw this. And I'll show it to you in a second so I can fix my screen here. So this article in the American Thinker got me, is kind of what page I'm on. Can we believe Bob Woodward's story about General Milley? Can we believe the shocking allegations of misconduct on the part of General Mark Milley? In a new book to come from Bob Woodward, his paper, The Washington Post, has published excerpts. And it's the same clip there, but this author goes on to write, I already despise Milley for his actions on, quote, white rage, end quote, and for his conduct of what became an abject surrender to the Taliban. But I have to express some caution about believing Woodward, who does not name his sources. Peter Hassan of the Daily Caller News Foundation cautioned us 2 years ago about Woodward citing, quote, repeated credible charges, including one from well-respected fellow journalists, that in previous books Woodward embellished the truth he pulled a Biden, that in previous, and made dubious bombshell claims or was otherwise just misleading. Yes, there's where I'm talking about. Woodward's former editor of the Washington Post, Ben Bradley, though publicly complimentary of Woodward, privately doubted some of the more dramatic elements of Woodward's and Carl Bernstein's Watergate-era bestseller, All the President's Men. Rich Grinnell has cautioned us today, as Katie Pavlich writes, former acting director of national intelligence, Richard Grinnell is pouring cold water on a new reporting from Bob Woodward detailed in the Washington Post Tuesday that General Mark Milley vowed to give China a heads up if President Donald Trump ordered an attack. Here's Grinnell. Bob Woodward has become the Michael Wolff of Washington, D.C. You know who Michael Wolff is, right? The guy who wrote the book about Trump that was pretty salacious and nonsensical. It's hard to believe anything the two of them write. Trump isn't a war starter, and I don't believe Milley thought he was. Yeah, remember what Trump was trying to do toward the end of his presidency. He was trying to negotiate with the, I almost said the GF word. Anyway, the Taliban, to get our troops out of Afghanistan. Trump wasn't interested in starting any new shit, especially towards the end of his presidency. If anything, it's the opposite. Anyway, he's also dismissing calls from Alexander Vindman, the whistleblower behind Trump's first impeachment, over a phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for Milley to resign. So Vindman here, you know him, right? The star witness for the Democrats during impeachment. If this is true, General Milley must resign. He usurped civilian authority, broke the chain of command, and violated the sacrosanct principle of civilian control over the military. And it's an extremely dangerous precedent. You can't simply walk away from that. Andrew Vindman, awfully quick to condemn the general. Now, it'll be, I guess I'm sorry, what I was thinking there. It's just to be interesting to see what people think of what Vindman's saying. In fact, I'll pop that tweet open here because I'm going to show you some of the replies to Vindman. Because here, Dr. Jeffrey Guterman, he's retired mental health counselor. I respectfully disagree. If true, this was an extraordinary situation that threatened the federal government. And Vindman replies to him, is it the CJCS always has the ability to resign. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff always has the ability to resign rather than implement an awful or unlawful order. What is described here is wrong. Also, no person is indispensable. There are a half dozen chiefs ready to step into that role. There is no deep state, but this narrative feeds into one. Ding! It kind of does. As in, and so now Goodman comes back. I think your take is naive. No, if this is true, if what Woodward writes is true, he's an absolute, Milley should absolutely be out on his ass. Okay, Vindman should also be court-martialed. Well, he should be too, but remember now, Vindman's a darling of the left, right? Because of the, because of impeachment, because of the Ukraine, the first impeachment, right? So anyway, but I found it interesting that Vindman actually, what the hell did I do there? That's not what I wanted to do. Hang on. Surprising that Vindman kind of backs the idea that this guy should be fired. Anyway, Mark Levin pointed out on a syndicated radio show today that Woodward and the Washington Post should not have sat on this story if it is true until Woodward had a book to hype. Milley allegedly was, after all, discussing a wartime situation in which the U.S. was going to strike China, which would make his giving aid and comfort to the enemy, wait for it, treason. A capital offense. Since we were not at war at the time he allegedly made these overtures, they probably do not qualify as treason per se, but do indicate a plot to commit treason. The sooner Milley is placed under oath before Congress and required to testify and produce documentary evidence of his communications, the better. Now that is true. They need to get him. They need to get him to testify. But I'm just really, really curious. Why? Well, why Woodward's coming out with this in his books. That sells books, right? He's going to sell books. It's that's quite the salacious story, right? And why the Washington Post would do this to Milley. Why would they throw Milley under the bus? Well, in theory, the way Washington Post wrote it, they made him sound like a hero, and I'm sure Woodward's going to make him sound like a hero. But in reality, that is a serious offense, and I just don't get it. So we're going to watch this story closely. I mean, there's a whole lot more on it. In fact, let's see. I had some other stuff on him, but I'm going to skip that. Anyway, there we go. Our first sponsor of the day. Thank you, John Arnott, with the link by YouTube Super Chat. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you are the sponsors of this show. You keep the Morning Night Live going by hitting the like button and sharing the stream and doing all those things that you do. And also, you can sponsor the show through YouTube Super Chats and or Streamlabs, which is at PDawgKnight.live, where you can also watch the show from there. You can watch the show and the Streamlabs things up on the right. And I don't really put a schedule on there, but again, this week, this show is going to be only an hour long as opposed to an hour and a half. But John Arnott, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. You are greatly appreciated. And cheers to you. Okay, so now there's also an interesting exchange this weekend regarding Joe Biden when some Republicans were questioning the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of State had a question about who's in charge here. I find this quite humorous, and And actually a question that a lot of us have been asking for a while, right? Who's in charge? Republicans question Blinken on who is really in charge. The president speaks for himself, Blinken says. Some Senate Republicans on Tuesday questioned the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, about who is really in charge of making decisions at the White House amid multiple feeds of President Joe Biden being cut off by a puppeteer in mid-conversation at public events. Quote, there's a real question right now as to who's making the decisions. Foreign Relations Committee ranking member James Risch began in his opening statement. Well, here it is. Let me just show it to you here.
Somebody in the White House has authority to press the button and stop the president, cut off the president's speaking ability and sound. Who is that person?
I think anyone who knows the president, including members of this committee, knows that he speaks very clearly and very deliberately for himself.
Oh my God. Did he just say what I thought he just said? That the president speaks what? What's the answer here?
I think anyone who knows the president, including members of this committee, knows that he speaks very clearly and very deliberately.
Very clearly is very generous, Secretary Blinken. But anyway, let's see the rest of the
for himself. No one else does.
Hey,
Well, are you saying that there is no one in the White House that can cut him off? Because yesterday that happened, and it's happened a number of times before that. It's been widely reported that somebody has the ability to push the button and cut off his sound and stop him from speaking.
And it happens. So, for example, when he was interviewing or he was talking with Nancy Pelosi and some, I don't remember what the meeting was, but it was televised, and they cut his mic off, and Nancy Pelosi says, we don't want him to talk. Or the other day there was it was something on the White House to govern. People started asking questions, and they cut the White House feed mid-sentence. I'll show that to you in a second.
Who is that person?
There is no such person. Again, the president.
Really? Then why do they keep cutting off?
Speaks for himself.
Who gives him the lists? They gave me this list of people I'm supposed to call. I'm supposed to call on? Supposed to call on. That means someone else is telling you who you're supposed to call on. Yeah. Anyway.
Makes all of the strategic decisions, informed by the best advice that he can get from the people around him.
Yeah. And my X to doubt thing isn't working, but X to doubt. Anyway, that's... let me continue in the article here as soon as I can get this off of here. Now we know for okay, that's what he said that. Now here's the stream that got cut off. So this was a live stream that was on the White House where the president started taking questions. So this is on the whitehouse.gov or White House YouTube site. So listen to this. Watch this while they just all of a sudden the feed gets cut.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
One of the things that I've been working on with some others is...
Notice he's starting to ramble. Yeah, see? They cut him off. This is an official White House event, and they cut it off. There it goes. It's gone. That's when they cut it off. As soon as he starts talking into questions. So, and it's just, it was, let's see. Risch explained, giving the example from Monday when the White House feed was cut mid-sentence by a puppeteer act while Biden was speaking during a scheduled event. In mid-sentence, Biden was cut off by someone in the White House who makes the decision that the President of the United States is not speaking correctly, Risch observed. So I'd like to know, who is this person? This is a puppeteer act, if you would, and we need to know who is in charge and who's making these decisions. There is no such person, Blinken responded. Again, the president speaks for himself. Are you telling me the committee this has not happened and no one pushes the button and cuts him off in mid-sentence? Risch said, seemingly not able to believe what the secretary was telling the Senate committee. That is correct, Blinken replied. And so he kept asking kind of the same question over and over. But here's another. We've all seen this example. This is my favorite when he's talking to Nancy Pelosi. Let's see here. Let me get this on here.
And if we continue to stay laser focused
on getting shots in people's arms, responding to the economic crisis. It's going to open up a lot of hearts and a lot of doors for us tomorrow to do the many more things we know we have to do. So I want to thank you all. I really mean it from the bottom. I want to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
This is funny.
And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance.
Wait. I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nancy. Nancy's pulling the strings. She's telling them what they're supposed to be doing. I guarantee it. But anyway, listen. As he said, I'm going to go back just a tiny bit. If you haven't seen this.
If that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
And they cut it off the stream. Oh, they didn't. Oh, they didn't have it.
Continue to stay laser focused.
Okay, somebody edited that because she says when the screen goes blanks, we don't want him to talk. And I'll have to find the one that actually has that because that clearly was edited. All right. Anyway, let's find this here. Oh, here's another one too. Here's another example from August 12th. Biden was mid-sentence when the White House feed abruptly ended. Let me close with this. Biden said before the feed terminated. Here's this one.
I urge you to support these basic reforms that will allow drug companies to still make billions of dollars as they have a right to do, but will address one of the largest out-of-pocket expenses that families face, prescription drugs. We can do this. Let me close with this.
Oh, that wasn't part of the speech, so they cut it off. What the hell? So, they love cutting him off. Probably that's good after about 20 minutes because President Sundowner starts rambling anyway and starts saying nonsensical shit. So I understand that, but still, anyway, let's see. Let me check the chatter because I kind of got a lot of here. So let's see. Jim Woods, all good. Okay. Greatest politician ever lived. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. What? I really wish I knew what happened to my my X key though. That's really bumming me out. Anyway, all right. Let's see what else I got here. Speaking of this. Okay, there's a couple things here. Rand Paul seems to have figured out that this drone strike that they did didn't quite hit the right person. Hang on. Let's just go in order here because what did I do there? Hang on, we're having a slight boomer moment here. All right, and we'll put that one over there. There we go. So hang on a second. So Rand Paul was a little annoyed at Secretary Blinken when they had him in a hearing. Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul confronted Secretary of State Anthony Blinken on Tuesday's hearing before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Paul challenged Blinken on the reports that a drone strike carried out by the United States had accidentally killed an aid worker and his family rather than an ISIS-K operator. Here's Rand Paul having, let's see how much of this is. I might have to, we'll see if they may cut the videos short. I think they, let's see. Well, shoot, what's going on here? Oh, I'm still having a problem with my internet.
Hey, it's Danielle here for Patriots.
And we don't need that.
With
Hang
some
on.
really.
So, here we go. Now we can skip ad. Maybe. Oh no, it's loading another ad. I'm sorry guys about this. I hate when this does this. Wait, it's Danielle again. Why are you back, Danielle? We just saw your commercial and I said skip ad, not start it over again. Let's try it now. There we go.
Going on, there's a subsequent vote going on as well. It's my intention to try to continue through the process, but I just want to make members aware. Senator Paul.
I've advocated for an end to the Afghan war.
By the way, I'm going to show two clips from this, and then we're probably going to call it a day because I want to go through this questioning and Blinken's answers. And I haven't seen this whole thing, so let me just turn this into a little bit of a live reaction here. let's see, get this back on here. So here's Rand Paul questioning Secretary of State Blinken.
War for over a decade. I'm glad it's finally over. But never in my worst nightmares could I have imagined that an administration would leave $80 billion worth of weaponry to the Taliban.
Right?
Dozens of planes and helicopters, thousands of armored carriers, hundreds of thousands of automatic weapons, and worst of all, 13 of our brave young men and women. Never in my worst nightmares did anyone or conceive of such a colossal incompetence. Abandoning Bagram Air Force Base will be remembered as one of the worst military decisions in our history. Holding no one accountable, having everyone circle the wagons and say,
this is our history. Hey, I don't know. I'm sure we've lost battles in places that have made where we've made blunders, but that is definitely one of the top ones. Okay, just giving that away and not being able to use it to evacuate Americans. So yeah, you might be in the ballpark there, Rand Paul.
Hey, we all agreed abandoning Bagram Air Force Base was a great idea. This is going to be remembered by the people. Holding no one accountable for letting the base go, it will be remembered. To add insult to injury, this week you've now released $64 million in aid to Afghanistan. Don't we have some prohibition against giving aid and comfort to the enemy?
Yeah, what the heck is that about? What? Why are you even considering giving aid to them? Again, now, is it so that we stave off the aid they might get from the Chinese? I don't know. They have plenty of opium to sell and plenty of lithium to mine, but I digress.
Now, the argument from the Biden administration is, we're giving it to charities, and it's for the good of the people, for poor people, and for women. Well, the Taliban has a history of taking this. Throughout their governance, they would take...
Going on is a subsequent
Sorry. As if, by the way, the Taliban gives a shit about the women and the poor. They just, I don't know.
Well, the Taliban has a history of taking this. Throughout their governance, they would take the money. This was a big complaint we had when they were in power the last time.
Ding.
They now have $80 billion worth of weapons, 350,000 automatic weapons. Are we really naive enough to believe that we're just going to keep sending charity to Afghanistan and they're not going to interrupt it? I think that's a foolish notion. The $64 million, though, is the tip of the iceberg. There's still about $10 billion out there that was designated for the Afghan government.
Yep.
Can you pledge today, without equivocation, that the Biden administration will not release any of this money to the Taliban?
Absent the Taliban making good on the commitments and expectations of the international community that I've outlined previously, that's correct.
Oh, yes.
Maybe we could deduct
yes. The expectations of the international community. Yes, the Taliban, world travelers and very avant-garde members of the world society. Yes, they are so concerned about how the international community views them, and so they want to make sure that they have they're on their P's and Q's so that the world community does not look down their nose at them and wish them ill will. Fuck. What the fuck?
Fee for the weapons they took.
So, Senator, on the weapons, again, I'll defer to my colleagues at the Pentagon who are more expert in this. You're right that about $80 billion worth of weaponry has been provided over the course of the last 15 or 16 years.
By accident.
Much of that, the significant weaponry, planes, helicopters, is actually inoperable, will soon become inoperable because it can't be maintained. In terms of the strategic threat that weaponry poses.
That's the one thing. I don't know. I think he might be right that stuff's inoperable, except by, Cindy, how are you doing? Hello, Renee. Nice to see you both. Except it is, they say it's inoperable, right? Well, then what would stop them from just selling it to the Chinese?
China is asshole.
And then the Chinese would just reverse engineer it, because, they've got some smart people over there. They can fake just about any product. I figure they can fake a couple Apache helicopters and so on and so forth. Anyway.
It doesn't to us or to Afghanistan's
But
neighbors.
you can't say you're not going to give them the money. If they behave, you're going to give them the money. Why don't we subtract the $80 billion from the $10 billion you're going to give them? Then they're minus 70 still. I mean, really, the fact that you're entertaining good behavior, that they'll get more money, I think is a big mistake and a naive notion that we're going to somehow change this Stone Age philosophy by giving them more of our money. We've sunk trillions of dollars over this. This is our chance to have a peace dividend. Let's quit sending good money after bad. The guy the Biden administration droned, was he an aid worker or an ISIS-K operative?
Good question.
The administration is, of course, reviewing that that strike. And
Wait a minute. Didn't the New York Times have some reporters out there telling us what that guy was? Wasn't he one of our guys? He was one of the guys helping us. Come on! We're investigating that now. Thank you to Rydeo's response to the show through Streamlabs, who says, between if Milley's alleged action and Afghanistan, they show how little they think of us as citizens, our taxes, and to the men and women that pledge to protect this country. Our lives and labor are worthless to these selfish leaders. Yes. Straight up, Tarai. It's crazy. And someone mentioned the word gaslighting somewhere back there. Yeah, I think they are. But this whole thing, oh God. What was he talking about here?
You know, full assessment will be
full assessment of who this person they killed was. Funny how quickly, the New York Times already has some investigation. They got pictures of the guy. What do you mean you don't know? Because they were trying to say that, oh, we definitely got this terrorist. We got a terrorist when he shot, and it was an imminent threat and whatnot. Oh yeah, he's a car filled with water jugs. Anyway,
don't know if it was an aid worker or an ISIS-K operative.
They don't know.
I can't speak to that, and I can't.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So when they first droned this person and the people around him that all died, they said, oh, yeah, this is an ISIS-K terrorist. We know a known ISIS-K terrorist who is going to do an imminent attack. Interesting. Now, Secretary Blinken can't answer the question. We're investigating it now. Wait a minute. I thought you investigated it before you did the strike. Hello, Mike Savage. Blarg. So, this was supposed to happen before you made the strike. Interesting.
I speak to that in this setting in any event.
So you don't know or won't tell us?
I don't know because we're reviewing it.
Well, see.
Wait a minute. And I'm going to see if I didn't watch the whole thing, but the obvious question now is, if you don't know, how do you know it was a terrorist when you struck? Wow. You don't know? Or if you don't know if you fucked up. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Oh, I didn't. Now let's see. I didn't know I could do this. Let me try something here. Is Blinken a fool or an asshole? Let's try this. I've never done a poll in my chat before. Let's try this. There we go. There's our poll. I didn't even know I could do that. So answer the poll, and we'll check this out later. Okay, let's put it here.
You'd think you'd kind of know before you off somebody with a Predator drone whether he's an aid worker or he's an ISIS.
You should know before you drone the guy.
This isn't just you. It's been going on for administration after administration. The Obama administration droned hundreds and hundreds of people. And the thing is there is blowback to that. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I see these pictures of these beautiful children that were killed in the attack. If that's true, and not propaganda, if that's true, guess what? Maybe you created hundreds or thousands of new potential terrorists from bombing the wrong people. So you got to know who we can't sort of have an investigation after we kill people. We have an investigation before we kill people.
Ding! Oh, hell yes. And also, so this guy was, according to the New York Times, who did their investigation, this guy was one of our guys, right? An ally to us, one of the people who helped us. And now the people around that area who may have been willing to help us see someone who helped us get struck by a drone by his own, the people that are supposed to, okay, whatever. They that they're not. They're like, what the fuck? That's what they'd be saying. All right, let's see how this poll's going. Okay, so we have 87% both and 13% asshole. Yeah, I don't think he's a fool. I think he's an asshole. But he's also both. Okay, thank you for participating in the poll, and I'm ending the poll now. I didn't know I could do that. I might be doing that more often. Anyway, here we go.
We got plenty of bombs. We can bomb almost anything we want from anywhere in the world. Maybe we should have bombed the helicopters and the planes that we left behind.
Yes.
I mean, even though you said you didn't know any of this and it was all surprise,
already?
Once they took all of our stuff, we should have said you got 20 minutes to get out of it because we're going to blow it all up. Then you would have sent a message of strength. Instead, we bombed somebody who we're not sure whether it was an aid worker or an ISIS-K operative. See, that's not sending a signal of strength. And in the end, there will be more blowback from it. If you killed an aid worker on accident, I mean, do you think we're better off because of that? You really could have acted in a position of strength, but you could have made the basic decision, the basic fundamental decision that really ruined the whole thing for you was a military decision to abandon Bagram Air Force Base before you left, before the Americans were out. Anybody can argue, and you may have a point that it.
I'm also curious. Okay, I'm going to stop
going
there.
on. There's a subsequent vote going on as well.
Hang on.
It's my intention.
Now, we're not sure. Shut up. Jesus. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to turn that music off. Yeah, I don't know what the Secretary of State had to do with planning that nonsense, but boy. Now, oh, by the way, it wasn't just the Republicans who had some tough questions for Blinken and some of the things that were revealed. By the way, Troy Deos, I almost forgot. Whoops.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
Thank you so much, by the way. Thank you for those sponsoring the show. And hello, Bosch, too. All right, I'm going to close this up because he also revealed something else during this hearing that maybe he meant to reveal and maybe not. But it's got people talking. Blinken just revealed. He just told us how many people Biden really left behind in Afghanistan. Now, we've been skeptical of the Biden administration, an official number of Americans still left in Afghanistan. They've said about 100 to 200 Americans were left behind, still a tragedy. But one U.S. official said that over 5,000 Americans were likely to end up stranded in the country by the time the U.S. forces left. Now, as of yesterday, they are saying there are about 100 Americans still there, which means nothing has changed since the withdrawal concluded on August 30th. Now, this is Josh Kroshar, but I don't necessarily believe anything he says. But Biden's Secretary of State Anthony Blinken made a stunning admission today. According to him, the best estimate are that there are several thousand U.S. green card holders in Afghanistan. Now, that's some mincing of words. That means they're not necessarily Americans, but they have legally eligible to be in the United States. Here is his answer to, I think it was Bob Menendez who asked the question. Here's his answer.
How many green card holders?
Green card holders is something that we don't track directly. So what we've done is we've solicited people, if they are green card holders, to let us know. I think the best estimates are that there's several thousand green card holders in Afghanistan.
Several thousand? I thought we were supposed to be getting them out too. Anyway, all right. Like I said, I have to truncate my show. So there's not going to be as many articles and things we're going through. But tomorrow, I am definitely going to stock up on FTGs, so be ready now. And I apologize for the technical difficulties I had earlier today. Plus, I got home late from work this morning, so it took me a while. But so anyway, like I said, this week the show will be a little bit shorter for these 3 days, and then next week we'll be back to our normal 90-minute shows. And so I may stream this afternoon or upload a video. We'll try one or the other, and then we'll play it by ear. So anyway, thank you for being here today. Before you hit any buttons, hit the like button, because we've got 34 people here and 20 likes, and that's, let's get that ratio up there. And then also, I just remind you to share the stream, and if you're watching on replay, please leave a comment in the comment section so that I know you were here. Just say, hi, Marty, I was here, or whatever, or whatnot. And we'll check, good call, Gunfox. We'll probably check the Discord and checks out some of those stories this afternoon. If I stream this afternoon, it will be roughly 2:30 or 3 o'clock my time, so 3 or 3:30 Eastern time. So anyway, that's it for today, gang. At least for this session, it's time for me to go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.